If when you're approaching dating, you feel constricted, like there's so many of these rules you have to get right and not get right, you feel like you're walking on this tightrope and one small step can just kill the relationship, then you might be suffering from this nice girl mentality that's going to actually sabotage the very relationship you're wanting to attract. The term nice girl or nice guy refers to this mentality or a way of being where we place the other person's preferences, the other person's desires far above our own, and we end up betraying our own true self. You see, the goal is to set yourself free. The goal is to be authentic, your true self, and attract someone from that place because that person is going to fall in love with and align with your true self. And you're going to fall in love with their true self. And in that way, there's no tightrope walking. You're just free and authentic to be yourself. So I'm going to share with you right now 5 deadly nice girl habits that could be sabotaging your success in your love life. So let's jump right into it and look at number 1. Number 1 is seeking his approval first. And what this means is when you go on a date, you're way more interested in getting him to like you than really assessing whether or not you actually like him. And this is a subtle habit, a subtle mentality where you go on your date. We all want to bring our best self on a date. I mean, that's normal. You want to look your best. You want to have a great experience. And so you want to be presenting your authentic best self. But notice if you're taking it a little bit overboard, where you're watering down your responses perhaps because you are trying to say the thing you think he's gonna like. Or if he doesn't like something that you actually like, you don't even mention that you like it because you don't want to create that disconnect with him. That's watering your authentic self down. The real goal here is to assess whether or not you're gonna have chemistry and compatibility with him, because that's the only thing that's going to determine for you on your end if that's going to be a long-term fit. And so when we sort of get caught up in the game of, let me get him to like me first before I like him. I used to do this on my dates, is I try to win the girl her favor over. I try to make the date amazing and make it fantastic before I really even assess, do I want to go on another date with her? And that was not a good strategy because overall, if we did like each other, then great. But if I didn't want to go on another date, then I ended up leading her on that first date. And that was not a good situation. So this first habit to break is trying to get his approval first and instead assessing him equally as he's trying to assess you to figure out if this works, and not watering yourself down, not being afraid to rock the boat and be your true authentic self if in case that's not what he likes. Because the guy who is ultimately going to be a partner with you is going to love your true authentic self. Number 2 is making excuses for him. And this is a deadly one. And there are many women that I've coached over the years who fall into this particular trap. I'll ask a woman, she's dating a guy, and then it will come out that he's married and he's got a whole family, or that he's in another relationship. And I'll say, so what kind of guy are you looking for? And she's like, that guy, like he's the guy that I'm looking for. And I said, okay, well, let's be really clear on exactly what you're looking for, because I bet you're looking for someone who's not in another relationship, someone who's not married and has another family. And she was like, well, no, except for that. And I said, and I bet you're looking for someone who, when they commit to you, are going to be faithful to you, are only going to be with you, going to be monogamous to you. And they're like, well, yeah, that too. And I was like, so there might be a lot of amazing qualities about this guy, but let's take the good, put that into a vision of what you would want, and then leave the rest. And oftentimes we'll make excuses for the guy that says, well, he's got all the great qualities except that he doesn't call me, doesn't pursue me, he doesn't invest in the relationship. And so what's wild is we sometimes think if we can just get them over the hump, if we can just have enough time with them, then they'll fall in love with us, and then they'll start investing more. Then they'll start making up the gap between where they are now and where we ultimately want them to be. And if that's the case, we're fooling ourselves. You don't want to date potential. You want to date reality. You want a real relationship in your life. And so it's okay to take the blessings, which is, oh, this person represents a lot of the qualities that I really want. So let me bring those into my vision. And I want someone who lights me up in this way. And I want someone who's fun and smart and caring and kind and so on and so forth. But you want to include the gap and what's missing. Include in that vision someone who's available, who's committed, who's honest, who's integrous, all the things that and who's super into you and wants an amazing relationship with you. You see, the vision that you have and where you place your attention is what you're going to attract. And if you're holding yourself into this space where you're making excuses for the guy because you're a nice girl, you're waiting. This is what the nice girl does. She waits. I'll wait until you get that whole thing figured out. I know it's stressful for you to leave that marriage or leave that family or break up with her. I know it's hard. And so you just make excuses and excuses and excuses. Or I know he wants to date other people. He's not willing to be committed to you. And we make excuses. That can stretch out for years and years and years and waste tons of time for you. We must break that habit, claim what you want, create a vision that you are aligned with, and that's what then you will draw into your life faster than you even imagined possible. The third nice girl habit that sabotages love is constantly draining your tank to fill up his cup. Now, it's normal to put other people's needs first at times. It's normal to give. You both want to be investing into each other. He should be investing in you at times. You should be investing in him at times. And not every day is equal. There are some days where you're depleted and he's going to be the one pouring into you. There are other times when he's going to be depleted and he's stressful and you're going to be the rock and you're going to pour into him. But if you notice that time and time again, you're the one who's putting his priorities first, his needs first. You know, you're going to go to his family barbecue, not your family barbecue. You're going to see the movie he wants to see, not the movie you want to see. You're constantly putting his needs, priorities, wants ahead of yours because you think that's a form of love. That's actually a form of self-abuse. You're not honoring yourself. You're not putting your needs, you're not holding your own needs and wants and desires equal to his. This is not a partnership. This is a pedestalship where you're putting him on a pedestal, say, I'm not as important as you are. What's super important in beautiful relationships is this mutual prioritization where you both prioritize each other. So you want to take notice if you're constantly pouring into him, filling him up, and it's not being reciprocated, that's a habit that you can break and create a brand new dynamic in that relationship. And the fourth habit that nice girls will do that is a short-term benefit, but a long-term major cost is we'll take full ownership of the conflict and not let the other person or hold the other person accountable for their part. Because we're more interested in just things getting smooth and nice again than actually solving the root and the real problem and creating a dynamic that works. You know, so like there's an argument and you'll come to him and you'll say, you know, I'm really sorry for my part. You're doing good communication work, right? Like you're owning your part. You're taking responsibility for your side of the street. And then he's like, yeah, don't let it happen again. Or yeah, that was really mean of you. And let's just try to do something different next time. But they never actually like own their stuff, the contribution they made to the interaction. It's in that moment when you want to say, and what I would love is for you to own your side of this. What would that look like? And you want to call them to the carpet. Because as long as it's one-sided, that's not a partnership. As long as it's one-sided, that's not a loving relationship. Both people want to own their side, and that's really the way that deep, authentic connection, deep, authentic love is generated. There are going to be conflicts. Any relationship, we are going to have conflicts. That's unavoidable, but it's how do you work together to move through those conflicts and actually restore the connection. What's beautiful is actually conflicts can lead to deeper connection, but only when both people own their side of the street and then seek to reconcile. And the fifth habit of nice girls that sabotage love is not revealing your unhappiness because you're trying to be easygoing. And this is often early on in the relationship. You set up sort of this standard that whatever behavior he has, you're cool with it because you're easygoing. You're cool girl. And I call this cool girl versus quality girl. And what will happen is, I'll give you an example of this. One of my clients one time was telling me a story of how she started to date this guy. She really liked this guy. They both had dogs. They bonded over their dogs. They met at the dog park. And so one Saturday, he's like, hey, let's go for a hike. Let's take our dogs. She said, great. And so Friday night came and he said, oh my gosh, I'm late on this project for work. I'm going to need to make a rain check. And she's like, you know, no big deal. And then the next time they planned to get together, they were going to hang out like all afternoon, and he could only hang out for an hour because he had something else that he needed to do. And she was like, that's totally cool. I had a great time today. I'm wishing you all the best. Every time he couldn't hang out, it was something that was understandable. Like a big project that was due at work. Someone didn't show up. One of these that he had to bail, like the assistant coach for his daughter's soccer team didn't show up, so he had to go and coach her. It was all legitimate stuff. And constantly she was like, no problem. She never voiced at all her level of disappointment or frustration with the situation. She was always just the cool girl. That's cool. And he's like, wow, you're being really cool about this. Well, it happened one more time. And guess what happened? Instead of being cool girl, she became volcano woman. Like she just, you always do this. I feel so frustrated. It was like all the backup stuff had been built up and she exploded on him. And he was like, whoa. So she was actually overreacting for that one moment, but she wasn't overreacting if you take into consideration the 5 other times that he had canceled or rescheduled plans. A way better way of being is to be honest in the moment. Like when he had said, I have to go cover my daughter's soccer game, and he only hung out for an hour with her, instead of saying, that's totally cool, I totally get it, it's all good, say, oh man, oh, I totally get it, you got to go do that, and I'm feeling really disappointed because I had blocked out my whole day, I had told other friends no, and so, I'm hoping that you can make it up to me, and I'm hoping we can do something really fun future, and have a great time at your daughter's soccer game. I totally understand. There's a way in which you can be understanding, but also true and authentic to yourself and the emotional process. And that sharing what your emotional process is sharing how you feel about it, allows you to not bottle it up and then become volcano woman later. Instead of moving from cool woman to volcano, it's cool woman to quality woman. This is what a quality, high value woman does. So my question for you is, what are some of the nice girl habits that might smooth things out in the short term, but end up having a major cost in the long run of the relationship? I'd love to hear your perspective on this. Go ahead and post those in the comment section below. Here's to your amazing love life. I appreciate you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.